Cousins, 32, spent his first 7 years in the NBA with Sacramento, where he rose to prominence but also found himself embroiled in a number of controversies. Notably, he was suspended 2 games by the league in November 2012 for confronting Spurs color commentator and former player Sean Elliott in a hostile manner, after Elliott said Cousins tried to bully Tim Duncan in a game. In December of that season, the Kings also suspended him indefinitely for unprofessional behavior and conduct detrimental. After being traded to the Pelicans just over halfway through the 2016-17 season, Cousins again flashed his enormous talents with a slew of games in which he put up monster numbers, but in January 2018 he tore his ACL, ending his season. Cousins then signed a mid-level exception to join the Warriors, who reached the NBA Finals in 2019 and was again plagued by injuries. After the season, he signed a 1-year deal with the Lakers but tore his ACL during a preseason workout and missed all of 2019-20. Off-the-court troubles also arose in the summer of 2019 when an arrest warrant was issued for Cousins on a misdemeanor domestic violence charge after his ex-girlfriend and mother of their child alleged that he threatened to kill her. The charges were dropped 3 months later, however, and the case was dismissed. So much so, in fact, that the 4-time All-Star still calls Warriors GM Bob Myers, even though he last played for Golden State 3 seasons ago and lasted just 1 season with the team. DeMarcus called me a month ago and he said, "Why am I not in the NBA?" Myers told Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson on the All the Smoke podcast earlier this week. And I said, "You want that answer? Because people are afraid of how you're going to act." And he's like, "Why?" And I said, "Well, whatever the reason is, it's here now." And I like DeMarcus. You guys may know him. I can't blame him for him because of all he's been through. San Antonio Spurs icon Tim Duncan was as famous for his quiet demeanor as he was for dominating the basketball court. Former NBA star DeMarcus Cousins witnessed both traits firsthand when he played against the Hall of Famer. On the latest episode of Podcast P, Cousins recalled playing against Duncan and his dynastic Spurs team, which didn't end very well for the center. He tried to talk trash to the Spurs forward, who responded in his typical fashion to humble Cousins. During the podcast, Cousins revealed that Duncan was using an ingenious tactic on defense. He would tug on an opponent's shoulder with one hand to prevent them from elevating off the floor and block their shot with his other hand. A frustrated Cousins complained to the referees to no avail before deciding to use his physical strength against the quiet assassin. DeMarcus Cousins is reportedly set to join Dwight Howard in Taiwan's T1 League, but the volatile big man is wondering why he still isn't in the NBA. After missing a pair of late-game free throws in Game 3, Clippers forward Paul George was able to flip the script with a heroic performance in Los Angeles' Game 5 win. The performance caused his teammate, the outspoken DeMarcus Cousins, to tell fans to cut the memes and put some respect on George's name. "I don't know where this trolling Bulls tea has come from," Cousins said of George in a post-game press conference. "The internet controls the narrative about these players. It's become foolish, man. That's one of the most special players to ever lace his shoes up. Give this dude his flowers, man." With the Clippers' backs against the wall, George scored 41 points, grabbed 13 rebounds, and dished out 6 assists to lead the Clippers to a 116-102 win over the Phoenix Suns to extend the series. George became the 4th player in Clippers history with a 40-point playoff game. The playoff criticism is nothing new to George. Last season, he was gifted the nickname Pandemic P, as opposed to the usual Playoff P, due to his poor performance in the bubble. George struggled to find his shooting touch in the first round against the Mavericks last year, shooting 28-4, 106, 26.4% from the field. The struggles continued when the Clippers had an epic 3-1 collapse against the Denver Nuggets in the second round. This year, Playoff P has returned. Without the help of Kawhi Leonard, who is out with a knee injury, George has been the go-to superstar the Clippers needed. George has been averaging about 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists since Leonard went down with the injury. When push comes to shove, fiery Los Angeles Clippers center DeMarcus Cousins typically lets his emotions get the best of him. It was no different at the end of the Clippers' 104-103 Game 2 loss to the Suns. With 0.7 seconds left on the clock, Suns center DeAndre Ayton scored on a game-winning inbound alley-oop. As the refs checked how much time remained in the game and if the bucket counted, a scrum of celebrating Suns players stormed the court. This did not sit well with Cousins. As the two teams argued about the call, Cousins shoved Suns guard Devin Booker around midcourt. No technical fouls were called, and the Clippers went on to miss a last-second heave to lose the game. Cousins, who was drafted with the 5th pick out of Kentucky in 2010, only played 2 minutes in the game. He went 0-for-2 with his 2 points coming from the free throw line. The 30-year-old and 4-time All-Star has a knack for getting himself into trouble. Cousins has 136 technical fouls in his 10-year career. He was fortunate enough to not pick up his 137th, but a fine could be heading his way. It wasn't long ago that former All-Star DeMarcus Cousins dominated the league and went head-to-head with the best in